Hey swimmers, Coach Kevin here again. I hope you've been working out at home and watched some of my past videos. I covered some of the risks and how to reduce those risks from working out at home. I also covered an extended warm-up and a core workout. So now I'm going to go over some strength conditioning with some supersets that will add on to everything that I've already talked about and shown you. This will require some equipment, so I have basically everything that's included in my Foundations workout kit, plus the mini band kit and an extra set of medium weight handles. Having extra handles makes it really easy to set up a couple exercise stations that I can just bounce from one to the next. With the supersets, I want to make sure you're not starting out doing a timed set. Don't go for a minute and burn yourself out for that minute right when you're getting started and used to these exercises. You want to do them nice and slow, nice and controlled. Try to get some visual feedback like a mirror or videotape yourself. Your parents might be able to help you with that. You might have a sibling that can help you with that as well. And just learn the movements and get comfortable with the movements for. You want to do a resistance that you can do 16 to 20 times and be a little bit fatigued at the end of it. Not pushing yourself through, messing up that technique, risking injury. You may also only want to do one full set of each exercise at first, see how you feel the next day or two, determine next time when you work out if you want to add on to that. The exercises today are going to focus on stabilizing and strengthening your shoulders and your hips, as well as just a couple other muscle groups kind of mixed into it, connecting some of that cross-body movements. And this is always good to start with. And as you develop that stability and strength from the inside out, that's going to help reduce those risks of injuries. You don't want to do a ton of full arm movements, a ton of full leg movements before your core and shoulder and hip joints are nice and stable and able to handle that. So with that being said, I'm going to start setting up some equipment and show you a little bit about it as we move on. First, I'm going to quickly show you how to put on a handle and a door anchor to a power band. So you're going to start out, you're going to take a small loop through the ring, either the D ring or the O ring, and you bring it through a few inches. And then that loop, you just take the handle and put it through, and then you can pull this down and you see it comes down like that. And then I like to flip it over so it's only on the metal part. Just like that. And then you have your door anchor, which I already looped one band to it. And so you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take this through here, having a few inches, and then you take the rest of that band with the handle through that loop. And then from here you just adjust it onto that door anchor, and now you have it attached. From here, like I mentioned before in the last videos, you can put it right in your door. I always recommend having the door open away from you, but I've got a nice secure deadbolt, a nice secure latch. So this is going to work well for me, having it attached to the door like that. So I'm going to continue setting up, and then we're going to go into our first superset. And we're going to do 3 different supersets today that are all going to complement each other and work really well together. I've got it set up, and now we can go from one exercise right to the next, right to the next, right to the next, and cycle back through. And that's the whole point of a superset. You're not going to get rest in between each set. Now, if you do all the exercise once and you just need to take a little break, grab some water, that's perfectly fine. Once you get in the groove, you might be able to just go all the way through all the exercises, right into it again, right into it again. And remember, don't push yourself too hard until you realize how sore you feel from just doing a little bit at first, and then progress from there. The first exercise, we're going to do W pulls. And And with this one, your arms are going to be up in front of you. You want the anchor at the same height as your head. And you're going to pull your elbows back just slightly lower than your shoulders, and then rotate your arms up, making a W position, and then release back forward. There should be very little tension here, maybe even no tension, and then you start the tension as you're pulling, so that way it's not too much. And then back forward. And again, you can even do it like this, where now the tension starts here, making it a little bit easier. With that position, it's going to look like this from the back. So your elbows are a little bit lower than your shoulders, and then you rotate up, rotate down, and back forward. That exercise is great for shoulder stability. It's going to strengthen those rotator cuff muscles that help keep it in place, so that way it's not moving around when you're swimming intensely. And you'll get a lot less issues with your shoulders down the road by doing these on a regular basis. The next exercise, we're going to do a torso twist, and we can use this exact same station. You know, you could use one of the handles, or I like to use two of them. I've got a pretty good rotational strength. So you're going to stand like this with your arms out to the side, but your hips still pointed forward, and then you rotate like that using those obliques. Now I like to kind of hold it like this with this hand, and then the other hand just kind of supports it and keeping my arms straight out, twisting and slowly twisting back. Having this anchored a little bit higher than your arms helps you kind of pull down at the same time, which is really good for applying this to swimming, right? Like think when you're swimming backstroke, you're rotating and you're pulling down right after it. So having that angle a little bit up really helps. And then scapula pull downs. Now this one, it's actually super easy to set up. I just take one band and I pull it right through, so that way I'm holding onto each side of it. And this creates a little bit higher tension right at the beginning of that pull. And since we're not pulling very far, we need that tension right at the start. Then you adjust the resistance by either putting your hands higher up or lower down. So I'm going to get into position. It's very much like a lat pull down or a pull up position, but you're only going to use your shoulders. You're not going to use your arms. So you start like this, and then you pull those shoulders back and down, holding them in place. Now that's too easy, so I'm going to inch my hands up a little bit, making a little bit more resistance in that position. And I'm actually going to get a little bit closer so it's a little more upright as well. And this is a much better position to be in. So pull my shoulder blades down, hold it for 6 seconds, and then release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and release. When we do exercises where you're holding it statically, holding it still, you're not going to do as many repetitions. So for the scapula pull downs, you may only do 5 repetitions instead of going for the 16 to 20. The next one is going to be mini band side squats. You're just going to step both feet through your mini band, put it just above your knees. Sometimes if you're wearing shorts, it's going to slide a little bit, so sometimes it works better if you just put it on your skin, and that's going to hold it in place a little bit more. So good posture, just like a normal squat. You step to the side, then you squat down. Step back, step to the other side, which I don't have enough room, so I'm going to center myself a little bit. Should have done that first. So step to this side, squat down, come back up. Go to this side, squat down, come back up. And again, this is really good for developing that strength so that your knees don't buckle when you're going to push off the blocks and the walls, which is common for a lot of swimmers that are developing. They still don't have that strength to hold it in a straight line, keeping their knees right there from ankles to hips. Now, as you can see, I just had 4 exercises right in a row. So I'm just going to demonstrate how that works with a superset. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Do your W pulls. Strengthen all that stability in your shoulders. And again, you're going to want to do 16 to 20 reps at a resistance that you're a little bit fatigued by the end of it. Now, I'm not going to do the full repetitions for all of these, just so you can learn a little bit more in a shorter amount of time. And then you go right from one right into another. So, torso twist, got my handles set up, right into it. And one thing I did not mention earlier is with an exercise like torso twist, you're going to do one side, full set, and then go right into the other. And then do a full set rotating the other direction. And you always want to keep everything balanced. So both sides are fatiguing a similar amount. And so if you just do the same tension with the same amount of reps, that will accomplish that. And then right into some scapula pull downs. I know I should hold it a little higher. I'm going to get nice and close. Pull those shoulder blades down my back. Hold it for 6 seconds. And then I'm going to slowly release. Pull the shoulder blades back. Hold it for 6 seconds. And slowly release. And you want nice controlled movements. You want to feel that engagement of the muscles holding your shoulder blades down. And that's going to be the position your shoulders are going to stay in when you're doing lat pull downs and pull-ups later. Just preparing you to be able to do those with really good technique. And then right into the mini band side squats. And as you can see, I'm starting to breathe slightly heavy, and that's the point of doing these supersets. It's also going to get your heart rate up a little bit, allowing you to maintain some of that cardiovascular endurance that you developed swimming. So to the side, and then down, and then to this side. And good squat technique is really important, so I'm going to let you see from the side. I'm going to try to keep my back upright. I'm going to let my hips dip down, right? A good way to learn proper squat technique is to literally do body weight squats just a couple inches from a wall or a door, forcing you to stay upright as you go through that squat. Okay, so I set things up for my second superset. Also, everything I'm doing today is listed below, so you'll see what the exercises are, the order of them, all of that. Also, I recommend having something like a tablet where you can easily watch the videos right next to you while you're working out, or you can pull up those workout guides as well. Those have a lot of information that's going to take me some time to start covering with these videos. So use a combination of both. Some will have information that the other one doesn't as well. Grab a drink of water. So this next one, we're going to do a mini band bird dog. And again, we're going to balance it out doing both sides. Then a single arm front press, balancing it out with both sides. And then some power band squats, and then some standing rows. So we're going to start out with the mini band. Put this around both of my feet. And you're going to make sure you're on all fours, nice straight back, good posture, engage that core. So right arm up, left leg pushes the heel back, and then alternate to the other side. Now you'll notice with the mini band, you're going to feel your glutes and your hamstrings working a lot more to push that band back. So this is really good at strengthening that back side of your legs, giving you that power when you have your starts and when you push off those walls. And then we're just adding some shoulder and core stability to it at the same time, right? Because when you push off, you're also tightening that core, making that good streamline. So you have to be used to engaging muscles all the way across your body. The mini band's also going to pull your leg in a little bit, so it's working those hips just a little bit as well, holding that foot out. Good, so now you see what it's like. From that one, we go right into a single arm front press. So this time I've got the heavy handles attached to the bands because this is higher than a medium weight band. So never use those smaller handles on anything with more resistance than that red medium weight band. I'm going to hold it just kind of like a normal push-up position, but with one arm. And I'm going to push forward and come back. And by doing this one arm at a time, it's causing me to engage my core muscles, preventing my body from twisting and being pushed back. So it's making those cross-body connections, which are very critical for athletes to apply this to having good performance. And again, you guys want to balance both sides. So I would switch arms and get an equal workout on the other side. This one can also be done in more of an athletic stance. So if you're in a sport that requires standing like this way, pushing forward, that works well. I do also notice that the way it hits my hip flexor is a little bit different. So I think doing combinations of both squared stance and athletic stance just helps hit all those different muscles that help keep you stable. And from that, we're going to go right into squats. And I've seen a few different ways other people do squats with power bands. Some of them I think are very unsafe and could potentially cause some injuries. So please pay attention to the way I'm teaching them. So I'm stepping both my feet around the band. So it goes right through the middle. And if I flip it this way, you'll see the green really easy. Right through the middle of my feet. And then the front of it, I'm going to lift up to the fronts of my shoulders. Now I don't want this in a position where it's sliding back against my neck. If anything, it's going to want to slide forward a little bit. And that's where I'm going to keep my hands here to prevent it from sliding off and lift my elbows up. So now I'm in a good starting position. Just go down and then up. And some of you with really strong legs may even end up progressing to the orange heavyweight band, the black extra heavyweight band. That one's pretty intense, so I don't intend to that. But as you can see, I'm using the green band, and this is fairly challenging for me. Just like that. And then, notice I picked a resistance that works well for both the front press and doing standing rows. So I stand like this, good posture, shoulders back, and then I pull my elbows back. I'm going to adjust that resistance, that's just a little too much. So, pull back. Now sometimes you won't have a perfect balance if you're using the same band from one to the next. So for instance, I could have put the medium weight band on here, taken an extra step forward with those front presses to make sure I was getting enough of a challenge there. And then on this one, I wouldn't have that loose slack at the end, adjusting this resistance to be just right. Because with bands, the closer you get, the less resistance there's going to be. The farther you get, the more resistance. And that's how you make those micro adjustments, along with several other ways that are in the workout guides. So this is that second superset And now I'm going to go ahead and set up for the next one. But in between these supersets is a great time to grab a drink of water, use the bathroom, whatever you need to do, take that little break and then come back. Now I've got it set up to work out our hips. And as we all know, kicking starts at that hip for that leg motion. And a lot of people use way too much of their knee and not enough of their hip in those kicks. So this is going to help out that kicking a whole bunch, get you strong in those hips so you don't have to depend on your knees to do the bulk of the work. Now, because I haven't been swimming, but I have been running and cycling lately, that forward and backward motion is pretty strong for me right now. And so I'm actually going to use 2 of the featherweight bands connected to one ankle strap. A lot of you won't be needing to do that. You could just stand slightly farther with the one band and create the amount of resistance that's good for you. But this makes it easy for me to transition from one to the next because I don't have to switch as many bands. So we're going to start out, we're going to do hip flexion. So you want your leg behind you with just a slight resistance starting from back here. Because when we kick, we're not starting from here, we're starting like this. So bring your leg forward and then you lift your knee up. Bring your leg forward, lift your knee up. And that lift of your knee up, think of a flip turn, right? Anytime you're tucking those knees in tight with a lot of speed and power, that's going to help you with that. And then the other direction, we're going to do an extension. And again, we want to start with that leg a little bit in front of us, pulling back. And then backwards. Oftentimes it helps to have something to hold on to. So if you have a chair next to you or a railing, anything like that, that's going to help you balance and stabilize. As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit trying to talk and look at the camera while I'm doing this. Now for abduction and adduction, this is going to be way too much resistance. So I'm just going to simply remove one of the bands, and that's going to reduce that resistance, making it appropriate for where I'm at. Now, you do want to be extra careful not to strain yourself. The hip abductors are pretty easy to strain, so you always want to err on the side of caution with that. So you're going to start with a little bit of resistance while your leg's out here, and then you're going to pull your leg in, just like that. And always err on the side of caution with this. You're probably going to want to do just one set, and then feel what all those muscles are like the next couple days before determining if you should do 2 sets or if you should add a couple extra reps to the one set that you're doing. And again, it's up to you to know that resistance. So if that feels too easy, I'm going to go just a little bit farther, challenge myself just a little bit more. If that's too much, I'm going to bring it in a little bit. And now this is really easy transition. You just step this way, and now you can bring your foot out. And that's too easy, so I'm going to step a little bit farther away. Just like that. And you want to make sure everything's balanced. So you would then switch which ankle that's on, and you would go through all of those with the other foot, balancing it out, doing about the same amount, challenging both sides equally. So that was your third superset. So you combine warm-up, work out your core a little bit, do these supersets, and then burn out your core at the end with some stretching after that, and you'd have a nice full body workout, focusing on the muscle groups that are going to prepare you to then increase that intensity and work your extremities more later. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the supersets that we did today, and everything I used, again, foundations kit, mini band kit, extra set of medium weight handles. And with that, I can do tons and tons of exercises. Sky's the limit. And with that, I can also have multiple stations set up so it's easy to transition from one to the next. It's very affordable. For $100-something, you can get a whole bunch of equipment and do almost any type of exercise under the sun. I mean, they're so versatile. There's so much stuff you can do with them. And I do recommend, if you're a little bit younger, to use the medium weight kit. See how that goes. You probably won't need those higher resistances at first. And plus, if you're younger, you're probably just learning the movements, so you may not need any resistance initially as you learn those movements, and then increase it from there. Supplies are limited, so make sure you get your kits sooner than later, because when I start running low, it will take some time to restock. So if you learned anything you like, click like below. If you know someone who may appreciate learning some of this stuff, share this video with them, and subscribe to keep learning more. So I will see you again next time, and be strong and be elite.